Hello and welcome everyone to another Fantasy Premier League video. My name is Mo and this is my channel FPL Inkling. Today I'm going to be going through the best budget forward options in my opinion that are listed currently on the FPL game for 2021-2022 season. So the price cap for the budget attackers I'm going to be setting is £7 million. Now that's for me, I believe that's the budget value at the moment for the kind of attackers that we have that will be playing regular minutes that will actually help boost your squad in terms of depth, not only on the bench or if you do decide to play them on the pitch in your starting 11 as well, because the basic kind of objective is to balance and spread your squad in terms of their kind of like value wise. So you want to get a few premiums, a few mid-range and a few budget ones as well. Now for me, I don't really want to choose like a 4.5 mil budget attacker who's not going to play hardly any minutes. I want to get you guys some budget in terms of like, where you're not overly excessively spending too much on your front line and you can actually use that funds elsewhere to strengthen your squad overall. Because remember, it's not an 11 player game, it's a 15 player game. Yes, you don't want to overly invest in your bench, but you don't actually want to under invest on your starting 11 either. So this is the point of these videos. Let me know what your thoughts are. The kind of objective is going to be to review their players so far, why they're listed at this price, fixtures, first 5 game weeks. So that's the cap I'm going to set in terms of the first 5 game weeks of what fixtures they've got coming in. Does that make them more attractive, or is that something that will put me off at the start? But I'll keep them in my watch list and see how they perform. And after those game weeks go by, I may reconsider and do some transfers from there. I'll look back at last season's stats if there are stats available for us to review. There might be some people who've been promoted from the Championship or who've kind of come in from a league that they didn't participate in the Premier League last season. So we'll look at some points per game as well and how they did last season, and do I think that they can sustain that performance, better it, or actually that was like the high point and I don't think they'll be able to do that again this season. So let's get stuck in, guys, and let's go through the 5 options that I do have selected for the best budget forward options for this season so far. So at number 5, we're going to have Danny Welbeck. So currently playing at Brighton, selected by 1.8% of managers, priced at 6 mil. So I think that's a fair price for him. He got 89 points last season, but most of his minutes came in the second half of the season, guys. So he ended with 6 goals and 4 assists, played 1,541 minutes with 15 bonus points. Now this is where it gets really interesting. So he got 5.2 points per game, guys. Per game he played, that's how much he was getting. So for 6 million, is he actually worth it? Mopai, no, he hasn't really hit it off in Brighton. So is this someone you should be looking at? I think you should consider him, guys, because he is, someone who you can consider as a good player, plays for Brighton and can finish and set up goals as well. Now let's look at his fixtures generally. For the first 5 game weeks, I think they've got some favourable fixtures. Burnley away in game week 1, Watford at home in game week 2, and Brentford in game week 4. Seem, I think, fairly fair fixtures for them. Everton at home in game week 3 and Leicester at home in game week 5. Despite there being home games at the Amex, I still think they're going to be pretty challenging with those 2 squads. But not to say they can't get anything, and not to say Danny Welbeck can't get any assists or goals against these guys. But let's see how he kind of fares up. He's someone who I've got my eye on. I do have a temptation to go differential and may go for him. Oh, but there's a risk element as well. But then I'll look at someone like a Pukki, for example, who's on penalties. So it's something that you need to really weigh up. But his form last season, I had to bring him into the top 5 for budget options. And he's a really good differential option, guys. So that's why he's in there. And he's got some reasonable fixtures. And that's why, with the average of 5.2 points per game, you can't simply ignore how well he did last season at the end of the season. Can he bring that into this season? I don't think you can get those high numbers over 38 games, but I still believe you can get a few returns for you if you do invest and, have faith in him. At number 4, we're going to go for Saint Maximin. So he's one of the 6 players so far that has changed positions on FPL. So last season he was listed as a midfielder, and this season he's been listed as a forward. Comes in at a respectable price of 6.5 mil, 4.1% ownership. Now he missed most of the season last season due to long COVID, but he did get 3 goals and 5 assists, which allowed him to get 85 points last season with 5 bonus points. And his points per game was 4.93, which is not too bad. Now him with Callum Wilson, I think will have a lethal partnership. And if you look at their fixtures, West Ham home, Aston Villa away, Southampton at home, Manchester United away and Leeds at home. I don't think they're actually that bad. from an attacking sense, not from a defensive point. So can he get some returns potentially at 6.5? Do I think there's better options in there at the moment? Potentially, which I can go through in a moment. But say Maximin, you kind of know what you're going to get with him. And 4.93 points, is not a bad return for a £6.5 million forward. At number 3, we got Ivan Toney. Again, there's no history to go through in terms of last season, but he did score around 30 plus goals. Highest ever championship goal scorer last season, or in a championship season. He's already selected by 35.4% of managers. 6.5 million price. Now, him versus Maximin is the kind of question for me, but he's on penalty, so that's what makes him, as in Toney, much more kind of like an attractive option. In terms of fixtures, not too bad actually. Arsenal at home, game week 1, followed by Crystal Palace away, Villa away, Brighton home, and Wolves away. So it's not a bad start, but then they hit the kind of solid fixtures from game week 6 to 9. But yeah, it'd be worth seeing how they get off to the start. He's very good aerially, brings a good presence. I haven't seen much of him myself. I've kind of seen highlights and clips of him from last season. But yeah, at the moment, I do have him in my draft, and it's just a scepticalness of, he might have a good start, he might not. How will it go? But 35% of managers believe that he will have a good start, and they have faith in him. So let's see what he can bring to the party. At number 2, got Che Adams. Now, for a lot of last season, he was kind of leading the line himself because Danny Ings was injured for quite a few parts of the season. Priced at 7 mil. I think it's £500,000 more than what I would have expected, but 1.6% of managers have selected him. 137 points respectively last season. 9 goals, 7 assists with 16 bonus points. Points per game, guys, 4.63. Do I think he can hit the last season heights? I think he can. Do I think he can better it? I actually think he can better it. Because he's actually a really good player, really underappreciated, and I think he can get potentially up to around 150 points this season. I think he can hit the 10 goal mark, and I think his assists may go up as well because he's improving day by day. Southampton didn't have their best season last season. They can only improve this season, in my opinion. So keep a lookout for Che Adams, a good differential option as well. In terms of fixtures, guys, Everton away first game, Manchester United second game at home, followed by Newcastle away, West Ham home, and Man City away. So not ideal fixtures in the first 5. Do I think he can get some returns? Of course I can. They're all new teams. Defence is settling down. It's going to be a bit hyper in terms of making sure everyone gets in terms of a good start. A lot of adrenaline all around. So it's worth keeping a lookout for Che Adams, and it'll be worth seeing how Danny Ings starts off as well. So keep that in mind. That's why Che Adams makes the list for the top 5 budget forwards for me. Last but not least, we're going to go for Mr. Chris Wood, so Mr. Burnley himself. 3% ownership, 7 mil in price, 138 points from last season respectively. He played 2,741 minutes, so the highest number of minutes he's played in an FPL season. 138 points, as I mentioned, 12 goals, 3 assists, with 16 bonus points. Now, he was pretty good in there. I think I read somewhere that him and Barnes have a deal that whoever wins the penalty will take that penalty. So that's interesting. So he is kind of like on penalties as well for them. In terms of fixtures, let's see how they're going to do. Do I think he can do better than last season? I think he'll probably get around the same points. I don't think he'll get... He's got 131, 136, 138. So I think he will get around the 130 mark. Maybe... I'd say if he was to really excel, 150 max, but I think maybe around the 130 points mark for 7 mil. I think that's a fair return, to be fair. Brighton, first game at home, followed by Liverpool. And then Leeds, Everton, and Arsenal, first 5 game weeks. So there's some very difficult games there. So personally, are there better options alternatively with easier fixtures? I think there are at the moment. So you can potentially look at someone like, I'd say Danny Welbeck has slightly better fixtures. But they're all difficult fixtures for the players that I've listed. But in terms of this price range, I think Welbeck kind of stood out a bit more, and even say Maximin at 6.5 itself. So that's my budget forwards guides for you guys. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys agree with the players that I've selected? Do you think that it was a right price I've chosen in terms of budget-wise? Are these players you guys are looking at or selecting for your drafts? Let me know. Are there players that I haven't picked up that you're looking at and you'd like some more information of? Drop me a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. Like the video if you like the content. Contact me, tongue twister there, on my social media below, which is listed if you want to know any more information or anything I can help you with. If you haven't subscribed yet, guys, all you need to do is hit that lovely subscribe button and help me grow the channel. In addition, if you haven't joined the league, guys, the code's at the bottom left. Join the FPL Inklink League and let's have a great season itself. It's been an absolute pleasure. Have a lovely evening and I'll see you guys soon.